Okay, hello everyone, this is Razvan from cognitiveSEO, and today we have with us Gianluca Fiorelli, a well-known international SEO consultant and strategist at iloveseo.net. He's been working since 2003 approximately, that's 15 years in the SEO field already, meaning a lot. And we are going to talk about semantic SEO and on-page analysis mostly today. Gianluca, you have the microphone.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Having you here in the Cognitive SEO talks, and I was wondering if you have anything in particular that you would like to add about yourself as an intro to our listeners.
Yes, I mean, the intro is perfect. I'm working in this industry since many years, but well, let's say that I start to be seriously working on SEO around 2007. Let's say because between 2003 and 2007, I was, as many people at first time, and not coming from, was nothing in touching you really what is SEO. So it was more, I was more a web content strategist. So when I was creating content and developing the architecture of a website, I was finding question like, why nobody, I cannot find my website on Google or any other search engine. So then I started to introduce myself in this so weird world of SEO. So let's say I'm of a generation of SEO who surely did something else before being an SEO. So it's not like now that you have masters, courses, tons of blog posts like yours, wonderful blog posts from where you can learn from. It was years of experimentation.
Okay, let's dive into the semantics issue. And I have a question for you. I've noticed in one of your presentations, you've stated that building links is also semantics. I found it particularly interesting. Can you please tell us more about this concept?
There can be two explications. One is the easiest one to understand. The other one is a little bit more complicated because it goes deep into patterns. So let's say the most obvious explication, which is quite easy if you think it, is that we know that a backlink has a link, any link, also internal links, have an anchor text. This anchor text is text, which is usually indicating a meaning about the things you are linking to. Then Google, we know that is also considering the text around the link. So this text plus the anchor text is a corpus of words and entities that are connected and related to the link and to the page linked. And this is also semantics.
Yeah, I agree with you here.
And then there is also a more scientific explication, which is based on, I don't remember exactly the name of the patent, but it's related to search entity. And one of the search entities that Google consider is the same anchor text of the backlinks. Therefore, what does it mean? These search entities, one of these is also as the anchor text, their combination usually can develop and result in a score, which is called a probability score. This probability score is how much a web document would be presented to you in as an answer to a search. There are many search entities in play, which can be search entities, the query itself, the document answering to a query, the anchor text of backlinks, the time you are doing the query, and so on. So that's why I was saying that being the anchor text of the backlinks and an entity search, I was saying, therefore, link building is not only for, brand positioning, increasing referral traffic, improving your page rank, but it's also to have more opportunity, especially in a situation like the one we are living right now, which is a really strong personalized search, to have more opportunities than others to pop up in this environment. For instance, let's say that someone is searching for international SEO and never entered to my website, but he visits quite frequently websites like Moz, like cognitiveSEO, like Search Engine Land, and this website links also to my website. So Google is creating a relationship between these sites that are in the search history of a user and my website. And it happens that my website has an how-to guide to how to implement hreflang. And let's say that this guy is searching for hreflang information. So the query, the search history, and the backlink from this website that he has in the search history, may give a bigger probability score to my hreflang post to be shown in his results than other that maybe are not. For instance, searching for sites that are writing about hreflang but have no links from Search Engine Land, cognitiveSEO, Moz, and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. So that's why. So there are two reasons. One is quite evident. The anchor text is text around the link. These are words and entities that are related to the link and to the page. And there is also a more convoluted explication, which is the one related to search entities.
Okay. Do you think how much importance do you think Google is still putting on the actual anchor text? Because we all know that the penguin penalties, the manual link penalties, in general, unnatural link penalties that Google issued in the past were mostly related to the anchor text, which we call the commercial anchor text. Usually,
I think about
words that they want to rank for. How important for you as a website owner to rank on a commercial keyword now? For example, I don't know, buy shoes or something, buy shoes in Italy, for example. How important it is to have links that point to your site with these keywords.
Exactly. Anchor text. I think that Google still gives a lot of importance to the anchor text. In fact, it never really told us. People like John Mueller or Gary Hillis never told us to avoid using exact match anchor text. They always said, don't exaggerate. I mean, it's a question of balance. For the same reason, Google is also telling us, please try to have backlinks that doesn't have stupid words like read here, click here, something like this. Google still needs something which is in the anchor text, which is describing the text, the content of a link that is going to. Maybe it's not so I don't want to go into the game of a percentage, how much of links with anchor exact match commercial with commercial anchor text, how many, what the percentage of, let's say, natural big links like click here and blah blah blah. I don't want to go into that game because it's really dangerous. But maybe probably Google is surely still considering it. Surely is not the only signal, but Google is taking from a link and the context of a link into a page to understand the meaning of a linked page.
But
because, for instance, you can go and buy these shoes here, and the answer test can be go and buy shoes here, not buy Italian shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But the context of the page around the link is especially about Italian shoes. So the connection is buy shoes and the context about Italian shoes, and the same context of the all text. For instance, of a blog post is about shoes, Italian shoes, Armani, Gucci, Valentinelli, etc., etc., etc. Then it's giving Google a good understanding of the meaning.
I think that Google is also able to relate, as you said, with all the words on the page and all the topics that are discussed on that particular page that the link is about shoes.
Yes.
It's interesting to know if the actual anchor text, if SEOs should use it as exact anchor text, does help or doesn't help, or in what proportion does it help exactly? We all know in the past it helped a lot.
I think it's still.
I think that now it's a bit less of an important signal. It's still an important signal, I think, but with caution, because you don't want to get penalized.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And this is also the same reason why one of the way to understand if a backlink is toxic or not, if it's contextual. The fact is, the classic word is a good backlink is good when it's contextual to the content of the pages that is linked to you. For instance, if we are talking about flowers and immediately go buy, I don't know, this red rose color Porsche, which is a car, it doesn't fit in the context. So which is also the reason, which is a really easy way to understand how Google is considering a link inside a content and as a signal.
Okay, I saw a couple of days ago that you were commenting on Twitter about content and how to win at SEO, make great content. Do you think that's all that's needed? Only great content to get higher rankings?
Yeah, I think there is a very, very big misunderstanding, equivocation about the real meaning of great content.
Tell us.
As many take great content literally. I mean, great content is only long format. Long forms, huge guides, or I have analyzed 2,000 billion URLs. For me, great content is a content that answers efficiently to a query intent. I mean, if someone is searching for well, it's not really good example, but for instance, if someone is searching for a question, for a solution which can be given with a 3 lines paragraph, I mean, you don't need to write, for instance, a 10,000 long form for answering something which can be resumed in 3 lines. If someone is searching for, I usually you present an example which is of my client in the insurance comparison niche, and he is ranking with a very, very super competitive keywords, which is in English should be car insurance and car insurance quote.
Okay.
The page for which is ranking number one first for this query could be considered a thin content. Doesn't have any text, doesn't have any, let's say, academic explication, doesn't have a brainy comparison between different car insurance. It's the first page of the form for the clients compile in order to receive the list of potential car insurance you can choose from. So it's a form because the people searching for car insurance and car insurance quote, what they really want is two things: or the possibility to, let's say, tailor-made their own quotes, to receive a tailor-made quote, or to see a list with a comparison between.
I presume that there are multiple sites that have the same type of forms. How to differentiate in this area?
I think that then is, yes, we all should always remember that Google is not only working and ranking stuff just because of one element. We are putting a lot of emphasis on consistency between content and search intent. But then we shouldn't forget that there are officially other 199 ranking factors if we want to maintain the 200 ranking factor number. So we should think about the authority, the page rank, the page has, the authority of a domain, things like technical stuff, like that page maybe it's good, but it's has some technical issue, but it's.
What's the biggest ranking signal that you're focusing on when optimizing for a specific query? Let's say you have the domain authority already, and you have a page on that domain that you want to optimize and increase the rankings.
I think that it's really depending. I must admit that I don't really think about what ranking factor I have to work on. I usually it depends. Surely it depends also from niche to niche, because what I noticed, as many others noticed in the last few years, is that okay, we have just one algorithm, but this algorithm has many facets, depending on the kind of a niche industry you are working on. Because as if, okay, this is travel and tourism, so these kind of signals are more important than others. This is academic B2B niche, these others, and so on. So depending on the niche.
Let's take one example. Take whatever example you want, and
let's say, for instance, if I have to say that the website is overall technically fine, etc., 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 and maybe a page is ranking relatively well, but not in the first page, then what I usually think is, let's see, maybe it's not really on page, maybe it's how the page rank. I always prefer to talk about page rank more than page authority, domain authority, because let's say page rank is not so well. I mean, the same page rank of the same page that I want make the jump from second to first page. So in that case, the best ranking, the most important ranking factor is page rank. And page rank can be obtained in two ways. Optimizing internal link So optimizing the flow of link equity the website already has. So to give to this page, which I know that is for me would be an important money page, blah blah blah, to have a bigger page rank, or just to make a little effort in order to give to this page 1 or 2 backlinks, not doing a huge campaign, just giving 1 or 2 backlink, external backlink, in order to to give him a stronger page rank. It's also.
What do you think about traffic? Do you think that that traffic influences the rankings? So, for example, you have that deep page on your site. Do you think that if you do some content changes on the page and then you start sending traffic to that page, it will help to boost the rankings? But letting know Google that traffic is flowing through it. We all know that Google has Google Chrome. Which
yes, but you also know that officially it doesn't use the data of Google, of Chrome and other, or Android, or the Google app in mobile. This was, also reminds me also of SEMrush ranking factor study, but was sites that have more traffic are ranking better. And I love SEMrush. They are great. They have a great tool, but I don't think that traffic is a ranking factor. Or obviously there is a correlation. If you're ranking well, you're going to have traffic. But I don't think that traffic is could be considered a ranking factor, neither in terms of correlation. I think that traffic is a consequence of something you have done. So there is the on-page side of your job as an SEO, and obviously a promotional side with all terms of off-site SEO. So I don't think that traffic is, let's say, if I'm receiving traffic as a referral traffic, search traffic, etc., 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 this means that obviously Google is also a user. So surely is one of the people in the traffic that is coming to you. So maybe that's why link building, especially in the beginning, is not only for page rank, it's also to disseminate in the web, thanks to links, more doors that Google can enter to reach your site. So in this sense, it's also a way to improve the crawlability and discoverability of your content from Google. So we shouldn't not consider only submitting your site in Search Console, submitting your sitemap, and the classic stuff. But also a good promotion is a good way to give Google a new way to enter your website. For this reason, and maybe I know I can sound like prehistoric in this assumption, but this is maybe the only reason why a really good classic PR campaign with PR news for site of PR and something like this can be still interesting. We know that when we do a classic PR news, which is syndicalized in different newspapers and so on, we shouldn't do it for backlink in the terms of page rank, because it's should Google tell us this is promotion, is not natural.
I wanted to give you an example regarding my question. We actually saw something interesting on our site, and we actually published an article a couple of years ago about this topic: if traffic improves SEO and if it affects the Google rankings. And I'm looking now at I opened the article that I wrote. That we wrote at that time, and the story was like this, to put it short. Practically, we have an article on our site that talks about object detection and image understanding and all this stuff. Okay, someone, after a couple of months since we published the article, shared this article in the Reddit group, or how they call it, which is called Futurology, which was a Reddit that had a ton of traffic. In that day, we had, let me look here, we had 20,000 visitors on that particular page. It was a huge traffic spike of uniques in one day. Obviously, the traffic was low quality because there was an ultra high bounce rate. People came, and they bounced back, most of them. But what we noticed was, because we were tracking the rankings for various keywords, and we were tracking the rankings for a keyword, Google Images. So the keyword was Google Images. In that particular day, our ranking increased from position 74, which was the previous day, to position number 8. Nothing else was done. The link on the Reddit post might have been the one that increased the SEO visibility, and that practically went down on the Reddit group. I don't know if in the same day or the next day, but also the ranking started the downtrend, and in 2 weeks the position went back to around position 74 or position 80 or stuff like this. But it was interesting to see this huge spike in the keyword position for a rather competitive keyword, which is Google Images. Without us doing anything, and with only this link that appeared on that Reddit group.
But so I'm still on my idea that, I mean, it's not for traffic. Make them your page jump for Google Image keyword. I think it's in combination with more general user signal, which can be click-stream, because let's say you received a link from Reddit, which
was no follow, I think. Which was a no follow link.
But it's a way for Google to discover.
Yeah, so they saw the link for sure,
but anyway, what probably happened is that there are also many other things. When Reddit is people is going to share, probably there were also other generation of things, I suppose. I don't know, but I don't think it's
I just wanted to share this not experiment, but this experience that we had with this particular page that we documented, and we wrote the article. We will give the link in the description of the video, so people can also check it if they are interested. Yeah.
But however, it reminds me a lot of when we already 3-4 years ago we were talking about the miracles of CTR, and it's from the description it's really similar to what CTR works. We know that CTR, improving the CTR in a short time is giving you a boost, but this boost usually is temporary. So what reminds me of you is maybe it's more than thinking about traffic as a ranking factor. It's more how much user signals are a way for Google to discover and test something.
Yeah. They do a lot of A/B testing.
If it was so, everything which is viral should be ranking in the first page of Google. That would be crazy. Imagine just for the fake news stuff. And so maybe it's a way to use a signal like, let's say, we are seeing this page is receiving a lot of traffic. We are seeing that this page is receiving a lot of click-through-rate and so on. It's a way of Google. Okay, it's almost the same when it happens that you create something, a new blog post or a new website. Especially it happens in the general for a new website. You can see that sometimes this new website, it's a classic question that I receive from clients. My website, I put it online and it was receiving immediately quite a lot of good traffic, and then disappeared. We know somehow that Google, when discover a new website or a new page, try to test it. And we know that CTR is used in testing. Not never was confirmed as a ranking signal or as one of the signals that Google use in the general algorithm, but it use it on testing. So we know that Google loves to test also live. So maybe also this is the kind of situation. These are signals that are used to test the efficiency, the quality of the page in any sense, and then if it answers to the quality of a page, to the quality, maybe it will lose something but maintains the ranking. If not, it's going to disappear in the second and plus limbo.
What do you think? What's one hack that you would, one hack or trick that you usually use when doing on-page optimization? What is something that really works for you and you do almost every time?
It's more than a hack or trick. It's more maybe it's because my past as in university study of linguistics, and I know that Google is like a human, a Western country human. So usually, and moreover, he's an English guy. So he usually writes from left to right, and he usually wants the most important stuff in the beginning. It's not like the Latins. The Latins, and I consider you also Latin because of your culture, your language, your Romanian. We usually put the most important thing at the end, usually, because Cicerone told us to do so. So for us, it's more difficult. But if you think as Google as an average American-speaking guy, then what I usually try to tell to my clients to organize the page, also the title tag. Why in the title tag we should put the keyword in the beginning and not at the end? Because Google writes from left to right and wants the most important thing in the beginning. So when you're writing a test, for instance, in a blog post, it's interesting to give Google, apart from your title, in the first paragraph, as it was a brief of what people are going to read. It's also useful for the users in order to understand if they are really interested to proceed and reading the blog post.
I think you're referring.
This is also a very newsy way journalist way to introduce an article. So this is good because Google is having all the content immediately, so it parses them, and then it can understand, give the context to all the rest of the body text. So usually this is, and then doing all the classic stuff. So if we are talking about astronomy, about how the Earth form, let's talk about astronomy, about the impact between Earth and this supposed Terra planet, which form the Earth as we know, and the Moon. Let's talk about all the theories about how water was brought by comets on Earth, and so on. So giving context with words and entities related to your main concept.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, how different do you think are the strategies and tactics that are usually used in different countries? I don't know, Spain, Italy, UK, US. From a digital marketing point of view, do you think that the same things apply to every country, or that Google has I don't know, different algorithms or different ways of interpreting the signals for specific niches and specific countries?
No, I think that in this sense, Google is a superpower, but doesn't have the computing power to create different kind of algorithms for different kind of countries. In this sense, I consider that the algorithm is the same in every country. So Google is also when it parses the content of a page, it parses the content the same way if the page is for the US market and the Spanish market. There is also recently Jomu in the SEO subreddit, technical SEO subreddit AMA was asked this same question. He said, no, I mean, it would have been possible for Google to create a different kind of algorithms, a variation of the algorithm because of a specific country. It would be surely a computing problem. It would be too much, also a big cost.
Yeah, but I think that Google treats in some way, for example, let's take, I don't know, payday loans or I don't know, various niches. Specific signals carry more weight depending on the keyword that you're using to search.
No, yes, but
depending on the data set of pages that are there, because most content for payday loans and people that are searching for payday loans are searching to get a payday loan, and they are looking for those kind of forms that you were saying. So there, if you're going to come with, I don't know, blog content or stuff like this, it's not going to work. So Google has to find a way to differentiate among the thousands of pages that try to push payday loans, which is the most relevant and accurate to that particular situation. And there, on these types of keywords, we see a lot of the latest tricks and black hat strategies that people use, and that are still working. If you take that and apply in some other area, like buy Italian shoes, probably you'll get penalized instantly. But there, it might work. For example, in Romania, a lot of the pages, a lot of the sites that are ranking have very unnatural link profiles, and they are not penalized because most of the sites have unnatural link profiles. If those sites would be to rank in the US, they would all be penalized because they have the competition which has more natural link profiles. What do you think about this?
I think it's true, because I see it also in other countries. Sometimes in Italy, etc. But what I was trying to say that is, in general, Google is not using a different algorithm from one.
Yeah, but they apply things dynamically different. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but then there are some situations like the payday loan, for which we are not talking about the algorithm. We are talking about a specific algorithm which is in the penalization and ranking section of an entire search. So this is touching an algorithm which is touching just a tiny part of the overall target algorithm of Google. But Google also said, sometimes people forget it, but for incredible we can think, in some languages and countries, actually there is not so much content about something. So if Google wants to present a search, it has to come to a compromise. Okay, let's say for instance, you told it, for payday loans in Romania, all the websites have a spammy and a natural backlink profile. So if Google was going to quit and follow the strict norms of its algorithm, if someone in Romania is going to search for payday loan, it was going to see nothing, an empty page. Remember when Google, many years ago, this was happening. Remember there were some queries for which you were searching something, and Google was showing you just a few queries, a few research results which were really answering to that query, and then Google will say, okay, we didn't find any other results for this query, so we are trying to show you something which is somehow similar. This was before Hummingbird, and this was before Knowledge Graph, and blah, blah, blah. It was in fact some sort of gray zone between before Panda itself. It was around 2010, I'm talking. This is what would happen if Google was so, let's say, strict.
I mean, it's a challenging position for Google.
And it needs literally to do something like this to all these nodes in order to show something to the user. Because okay, if I'm going to penalize as I have told, and I should have to, I'm not going to give anything. And maybe, okay, in this case, what Google is doing, maybe in Romania for payday loan, is saying, okay, all the websites have a natural toxic links and a natural backlink profile. So let's not consider it and just rank a la Yandex without considering backlinks and see all other signal, how the user signal like CTR, pogo sticking, dwell time, home page, the classic home page of how they use the keywords, how people are using the website. So maybe Google can decide to not consider one of the three most famous ranking factor, let's say, content, links, and contextual-rate. So it's not going to consider links, because maybe the situation is such that, I mean, if everything is shit, let's quit the shit and just consider what remains. Maybe sometimes more than focusing on this kind of situation, maybe sales are going to say, these are ranking because they have this crappy, or everybody's doing this crappy link building tactics and so on, and so I'm white hat and blah blah blah, and not ranking. Probably usually these sites doesn't have only crappy backlinks. Sometimes they should have, also because they are growing and visible and known, they should have also some good backlinks. So maybe this is also the difference why someone a payday loan website with no backlinks and a payday loan website with tons of crappy links, but also 2, 3, 4, up to 10 good backlinks are ranking better.
Yeah.
But maybe backlinks are not, in this kind of situation, links is not the most important ranking factor.
I was thinking, can you give our listeners 3 pieces of advice for our SEO pros that are listening here? What are the 3 things that they should do to optimize their sites?
The first thing what I usually suggest, and I usually look, is the architecture of a website. This can be also considered as semantic. Architecture is based on taxonomy, categorization, and logical structuration of the overall content of your website. The best and seamless is organized the architecture of a website. The best is for the user, and Googlebot is a user. So the first thing I would say is say to the other SEOs is review all the architecture of a website. This taxonomy you're using is too much convoluted. Are you using too many faceted navigation? Do you really need to create a subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory people are really searching for this kind of stuff. So try to rationalize, to review your architecture, and the site is going to go better.
Okay.
Secondly, for instance, let's talk about a schema. As always, whereas in SEO, there have been two moments. In the beginning, it was all about the rich snippet, now rich results. Then schema became something like an holy grail, and people start to tag everything. Also, with any kind of possible schema you can find on schema.org. Again, it's a question of balance. I would suggest in this field of structured data to the SEO to do a step. Let's see, what are the structured data that Google recognizes? We can see them quite easily in the search results gallery by Google on google.com itself. So let's start with them. Don't get crazy. Start with product, start with organization, start with article, this kind of, especially with the one that can give you some particular good effect in form of rich results, especially on mobile. And then, once you have implemented that kind of structured data, you can try to start experimenting and considering which kind of structured data you should start implementing, because Google is going to consider it in the next or middle term future. For instance, everything about image wasn't so much considered, but since last year, and it's getting more and more improved, everything about Google Image is changing. It's a structured data for product plus image, schema.org product, especially the image tagging of the product is important also for Google Image. So let's, more than tagging everything because Google will understand better the meaning of the content, which is the philosophical reason why you should use structured data. Don't go crazy, don't overdo, and follow what Google recognizes. And third, in terms of quick win, and I have quite a recent case for a real estate website in Mexico that I'm working with. And somehow it's replicating what I was telling you before. Sometimes you don't have to go crazy reinventing the wheel, creating new content, or doing a huge campaigns for having an even bigger link profile, for making your site gain 1 million organic visitors in 5 weeks. First thing you have to do, instead of reinventing the wheel with a new keyword research, look for what keyword you are already ranking with your site. And then go to see for what keywords are you ranking from position 11 to position 20. See what pages are ranking for in that position and for what keywords. Optimize them. And just make the push them to page 1. And we did it for this, I followed with strategy and proposed it to my client in this real estate website in Mexico, and they were really good. It was already a good website, it wasn't a new website. But it was somehow competing with other websites for the same keywords, the same clients. We followed this small, simple strategy, and they saw a lot of these keywords really jumping from page 2 to page 1. In 5 weeks, they earned 1 million organic visits. And it's a freaking stupid. I mean, it's not so. It's not a high inventive.
It was right under their nose.
Always consider that sometimes it's not. You don't have to be Einstein or you don't have to be the biggest SEO guru of the world to understand that there are simple tactics that can be really somehow surely easier than others to implement. For instance, if you are going, I have this keyword is ranking, these money keywords are ranking in position 7, I want to push them on position 3, it's objectively more difficult than moving 200 keywords for which you are ranking in page 2 to page 1. And if you sum finally the amount of traffic that this only keyword and these 200 keywords are going to bring you, it's the same. But if you didn't have to do the same effort in terms of time and also money for this than for this. So this is try to look at which is the easiest weighted way to earn traffic. Don't go for, you don't have to climb the Everest for reaching something.
There are smaller milestones before the Everest.
Yeah.
To get to Everest, you need to reach other milestones.
Obviously, because just think in terms of SEO. Okay, you did you help your client to earn these 1 million organic visitors. Now they are going to be super happy to invest more in SEO, so you can try to create something like a really cool, nice, rich content, 10x content link building campaign for moving that famous keyword from position 7 to position 3, because you are going to create a campaign which is going to send good backlinks to that page. But before, try to justify, and there are ways to justify the importance of SEO to clients with things like this, as the one I told you before.
Okay. If you can share a last question, if you can share with us what is the biggest mistake and the greatest achievement from your entire digital marketing career?
My biggest mistake was, and sometimes I follow again in that kind of mistake, is to not really being able to evaluate and to give a price to my knowledge. I'm going to give this sort of lesson to the younger SEO that maybe are going to listen to us. Don't sell yourself for too few money. Obviously, you don't have to overprice yourself. You have also to demonstrate your knowledge, but don't sell yourself too low, because and also if you are somehow desperate because you need new clients, try not to go for the lowering the price path, because that is a no return path. If you are going to start selling you too low, people are going to pretending you to be low, and this is then a cat that is biting his own tail, because the clients that are paying you few monies are not good clients, or not so great clients that you would aim to have, and so you start to just working for that kind of clients and not able to aspire to this is the client that changed my life and so on. So this is something about how to price yourself. This is the biggest mistake I did, especially in the beginning. And then when I realized it was hard to go in track with, I think that my knowledge price for me, for my time, for what I'm giving to you is this, and not trying to negotiate too much. And then my biggest, sincerely, I don't know which is one. Maybe if it's one of the 1 million was so outstanding that I could consider a really big hit in my career, and after 15 years. But I think that it's more personal. My biggest event in this industry was to being really able to know great people, and thanks to this knowledge, this friendship, or professional friendship, if not really friendship, having been able to create what was really one of my dreams, which is to create a conference about not only SEO, but about digital marketing. Maybe this, which is very important. And this is maybe, okay, if I have to retire, okay, because I already did very powder. I mean, I won't because I need to work for money, but for paying the bills. But let's say I'm satisfied with what I've achieved with Rainbow. Now it's more like a work because you have to maintain it. But with the same fact that I was able to make this sort of dream that I had becoming true, thanks to the people I know in the industry, both other SEO, other marketers, entrepreneurs, and so on. This was really something that I am proud of myself. And this is also a way, another suggestion for the young. I know that going to conferences is costly, but try always to go. You don't have to go, for instance, to Moscow because it's in the United States. It's really costly, but what are the conferences close to you? What are the SEO meetups? There are no SEO meetups. Organize yourself one. I mean, it's just going to the Brighton SEO that everybody loves. Was invented by Kelvin as a meetup in a pub. I mean, and now it's a 3,000 people going to Brighton SEO. Do that. And internet is wonderful, but real life even better. And there are things that you can learn and share, and real friendship you can create with people just having these people in front of you. So don't be shy. Go to conferences, networking, meetups, and SEO camps, and so on.
It's all about relationships in the end.
Yes, as everything in life. I mean, it's not just SEO.
Yeah. Okay, Gianluca, thank you very much for sharing all this very valuable information with our listeners. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.